Hello again, word lovers. And in this installment, we're going to hone in on English and a peculiar part of English, as it's slang from London. It's called Cockney rhyming slang. Slang itself came from out of London, from the north, where it originally meant territory or turf, especially for travelling people, tramps. So slang then came to mean the people, the salesmen, the beggars, and from there, their language. And it's Cockney slang. Cockney meaning from London, but again, possibly from outside London, as it is an insult and comes from cock's egg, which we know early on meant a spoiled child, but possibly in this sense means somebody who spent so long out of the country and in the big city that they think that eggs come from cocks and not hens. So how does this Cockney rhyming slang work? Well, if I say, for example, look at that woman's barnet, I would be asking you to look at her hair, because that's Barnet Fair. Barnet Fair, the fair that they have in Barnet, a famous fair, becomes Barnet Fair, but we don't say the rhyming word, so it just hangs there as Barnet. Look at that Barnet. Barnet Fair, look at that hair. Look at that man, he's got huge plates. Plates of meat, feet. It is a little bit complicated, and I don't know of any other rhyming slang. But the peculiar thing about this slang is that it's found its way into ordinary English without people knowing that it originated in rhyming slang. A lot of people, for example, when they don't have any money would say, I'm completely brassic, which comes from boracic lint, which was a medical dressing. Brassic lint meaning skint, skint meaning skinned, skinned meaning having no money. I'm brassic, I'm broke. Brassic because it has a connection with brassica, cabbages, but we're not going down that route. So for the following, especially native English speakers, please use your loaf. Oh, that's Cockney rhyming slang to begin with, isn't it? Loaf of bread, head. Use your head, think, and see if you can tell me what the rhyming words for these common slang words are. To refer to breasts as Bristols is making a reference to Bristol City, the football team Bristol City. To call somebody a Burke was originally to call them a Berkshire Hunt or something that rhymed with that. This sound is known as raspberry because of raspberry tart. There's the rhyming word. You might say, let's get down to brass tacks. You're just saying, let's get down to facts. Some of the less known ones would be put up your dukes. Put up your dukes is what people would say nowadays jocularly, meaning put your fists up in the air. The fists were known as forks in early boxing parlance. So it's put up your Duke of Yorks. Put up your fists. Let's have a fight. Very popular TV programme in England in the 1970s was The Sweeney, which told the story of the adventures of the flying squad of the London Metropolitan Police Force, that being rhyming slang from the name Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street. Sweeney Todd, flying squad, the Sweeney. Now, a lot of proper names, names of real people, have crept into rhyming slang as well. When we see you're taking the mickey, meaning you're joking with me, you're actually taking the Mickey Bliss. Although I can't find out who Mickey Bliss is. Why you would say taking the piss in any case is strange, isn't it? Apparently, piss proud in medieval English meant waking with I'm not quite sure, with an erection that you don't use, or with a desire to go to the toilet that makes your member look bigger than it is, and taking the Mickey Bliss from that is simply to deflate it. I've also heard it referred to as Arthur Bliss, who was a composer, and Gypsy's Kiss. But staying with famous people and proving the flexibility and adaptability of language, here are some examples of people who were famous in their day and got turned into rhyming slang. Footballer Tony Cottee became slang for totty, which was available women. Alan Wicker, the TV presenter, got morphed into knickers. Alan Wickers became knickers. If you're up before the judge, you might be up before the Barnaby Rudge. a Dickens character. Looking through the Tommy Trinders was looking through the windows, Tommy Trinder being a music hall performer. Bob Hope, in my little list here, is cutely referred to as rhyming slang for soap, but I know it more as cannabis. Got any Bob Hope? Where I was from was, do you have any dope? Maybe have a nice drink of Vera Lynn with it as well, some gin. And in more modern time, Robin Williams' starring role gave rise to a modern Cockney rhyming slang. It's a bit mork and mindy today, meaning it's a bit windy. The most convoluted rhyming slang history I read in a version by Anthony Burgess, where he explains the reason why arse is Aris in London. You don't fall on your arse, you fall on your Aris, is a double Cockney rhyming slang transition. Arse, with the long A of the Londoner, makes a rhyme with glass, as in glass of beer. So arse became bottle, as in the phrase bottle and glass. He's fallen on his bottle. Bottle, in turn, became rhyming slanged into Aristotle for bottle, so he's fallen on his Aris. And that, I believe, is true. And to finish off with, a couple more that you may use if you're a natural English speaker without realising you're talking rhyming slang. I think if you're having a giraffe, that's quite obvious, isn't it? You're having a giraffe, you're having a laugh. Telling porkies might not have stopped to think that you're telling pork pies, you're telling lies. And if you're fond of alcohol, you might have been for a sherbet at one point or another. Sherbet dip, meaning a nip, a small quantity of something. And I once met somebody who described himself as ginger, which I hadn't come across before, meaning homosexual, from ginger beer, queer. Right, lovely jubbly, that's your lot for now, me old Chinas, and I'll see you, oh Chinas, there's another one, China for friend, China plate, mate, and I'll see you in the next instalment.